Welcome back to Living Out Loud with Moe Nicole. On today's video, I am going to be talking about living with social anxiety and ways that you may be able to cope and deal with and identify how to best move through when you're having your various episodes, as well as how you can best support those around you who may be living with anxiety. As you can see on today's video, I decided to take it outside. I wanted to show you all a little bit of something of what I do for my self-care when I find myself getting a little stressed out, as we looked at today's video. We honestly have been seeming like hypocritical as we're looking at and talking about mental health, self-care, and anxiety and depression and how it may affect our community. It seems as if we've only been looking at it or paying attention to it when it deals with us personally. Somehow as a people, we have identified and found a way to make it turn to be about us again, and without actually looking at what it is that it actually means. And so I want to give a little bit of background about social anxiety, and with me being a person who has actually lived with anxiety, and I still live with anxiety. One of the first steps of what individuals who are living with anxiety have to deal with is creating proper boundaries. And so those boundaries, they're not meant for other people to be able to understand. It's meant for them to be able to respect it and understand what it is that that person needs in that moment. Boundaries can be from turning off your phone at a certain time, putting your phone on do not disturb. Boundaries can be saying no. That's the biggest boundary that we can actually do in today's age, is saying no, because oftentimes we do things because we don't want someone to be upset with us. We don't want to be afraid of something. We're afraid of what someone may say or what their reaction may be, without realizing, hey, that's not what I need in this moment. And what boundaries are, we need to make sure that we set those. It actually takes a strong person to be able to set boundaries and to understand who they are as a person and what it is that they need. When it comes to living with anxiety, it's important for you to be able to voice your concerns and what it is that you need from those around you, because not everyone will be able to understand exactly what you're living through and what you're going through. And so it's on you to be that expert to share with them what it is that you need. On the receiving end, it's not for you to fully understand. It's just for you to respect those boundaries when they're given to you, for you to be like, hey, okay, I can fall back. So we're going to take a quick example of what's been going on with Summer Walker recently, in which individuals have been having issues with her, first stating that she did not want to give hugs at her meet and greets. And then now with her sharing how her social anxiety has not really been matching up with what's been going on within her life as living as a famous star. Many people do not fully understand what it means to live with anxiety while still being in the public eye. Just because an individual may be an introvert or they may live with social anxiety does not mean that they should just stay cooped up in the house away from everyone. That's not fair for us to tell them, for them to do. What we have to do on a daily basis is set what it is that we need to properly get through everything. If it wasn't for me learning how to set my proper boundaries, for me learning how to say no, for me to be able to organize my life and what I have going on, I wouldn't be able to manage everything that I manage on a day-to-day while still being able to be active and talk to individuals. The next step to living out loud and living within your anxiety is realizing what your coping mechanisms are. What it is that you need for you to be able to fully be successful with what it is that you're working on. Those coping mechanisms may be when you find yourself getting ready to go into a setting that may be hard for you to be around, that you stop, breathe, talk to yourself, whatever it is that you need in that moment to help, whether if it's that rapid heart rate that you're going through or that constant sweating, whatever it is that you need in that moment to be able to calm down, we need to find those. So for me, I breathe and I talk to myself. I ask myself, Monica, is this a story that you're telling yourself, or is this something that is actually happening, and is this fear really valid? So that helps me to best identify how I can best cope with what's going on in that moment. Another way dealing with anxiety, we sometimes journal. And so we will write, whether if it's journaling once a day, twice a day, once every other day, to be able to get our thoughts out. That helps a lot when it comes to sharing what's going on, because honestly, when we're going through these anxiety attacks, it's because we're thinking of what could be versus what's actually going on around us. When we're getting present into what's going on in that moment, we're better able to deal with what's going on around us. Let's not just have mental health be a buzzword that we talk about and that we hear and it sounds good, but I want us to actually believe in what it is that we're saying believe in what it is that we're telling people to do, because if we're not, what we're saying is just sounding good. It's important that we create those positive self-care routines. If you're interested in learning more just about living with anxiety and identifying potential self-care tips and following that, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button to my page if you haven't already. Another great coping mechanism when it comes to living with anxiety is making sure that you take breaks. When you find yourself getting a little bit aroused or you've been working on something a little bit too long, it's good for you to take that time to be able to step back, think for a moment, and then come back to it with an open and a clear mind. The most important one is making sure that you know your triggers. What is it that sets you off? And making sure that you're able to identify them so that you can become more preventative. The last one may seem very, very big and important, but it's still something that most of us do not follow through. And that is making sure that we're looking at our health and how we're making sure we look at what we eat, and not just what we eat, what we do to our body. Not everyone is able to exercise and go to the gym, lift 100 pounds in weights. Sometimes all you need is a simple walk around the park, walk around your job. And so what I used to do in the office, I would just walk around. When I had an office, I would just walk around on my break, to get something flowing, to get that blood flowing within my body. And the same thing goes when it comes to what we eat. I actually began my pescatarian journey on July 1st. And since doing that, I noticed such a change with my health. From then, my weight has been maintained. I realized that my blood pressure has finally been stabilized and I have not been having any issues with that. And my brain has been feeling a little bit more clear when it comes to my thinking as well as with my digestion. And the reason for that is when your body is not having to work too hard on digesting your food and your drinks and what you eat, you're able to give that energy to other parts of your body. So I would like to thank you for tuning in to today's video. I hope you have learned something from it. Make sure that you hit that nice subscribe button if you would like to keep getting more content like this. My goal is that we all be able to live out loud and that we be able to live within our personal truths without worrying what someone else may have to say. And so we want to make sure that we make it easier and not harder for a person to be able to live comfortably. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you have gotten some valuable information from it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you like to keep getting content such as this. And let's just make sure that we keep living out loud and allowing ourselves to live in our personal truths while encouraging other people around us to do the same.